guys, welcome back to the Farmhouse Knitting Podcast. My name is Dayna and I'm coming to you from the woods of northern Illinois from my farmhouse. This is a podcast where I just talk to you about knitting and yarn and all my projects that I'm working on and that I've finished. And so if you are new, welcome. And if you're back for another episode, then welcome back. Thank you guys for hanging around and hanging out with me in my sunroom. I've got my sign all ready. I've got my Mama Llama knitting shirt, and I'm ready to talk yarn. It's been a long week full of a lot of knitting, and that doesn't usually happen when you have 3 kids. So I'm excited to share with you guys what I've been working on. So how are you guys? Part of our long week is that I wanted to share with you kind of right away off the bat that we found out we are having for our 4th baby a little baby boy, which if you're a returning viewer, you know that we have 3 girls. So we're really excited to have a boy. I'm really excited to knit for a boy. I've knit not very much for boys. I have a nephew that I've knit for, but other than that, all my knitting has been mostly girls. So I'm really excited. Of course, as soon as we found out and got back from the ultrasound, I came home and I was just scouring Ravelry for boy patterns, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. Boy mom, what is boy mom life? I don't know. We live in the country, so I'm sure he'll get into all sorts of stuff. And my cousin warned me when I asked her if she had any tips, because she has 3 boys and I had 3 girls. When I asked her if she had any tips for raising boys, her one thing she said is, they're smelly. They're just smelly. So of course I'm thinking of all the things they can get into out here and all the smelly things they can get into, and we've got a creek at the bottom of our hill. So, but we're really excited. We are very, very excited to meet him in October. So that is that. That's my big news, I guess, to start the show off. And before I jump into the knitting part of today's episode, I wanted to share with you, they call it a listicle from the magazine Bella Grace. I don't know if you guys read the magazine Bella Grace. It's really cute. I think it's a quarterly magazine, and they just have the prettiest pictures. I wanted to share with you just a couple of their things from one of their listicles. So it's an article, but then they'll list stuff out. They just have beautiful, beautiful pictures. Oh, I did want to show you, it's not a crochet hat, but it looks like something you could definitely knit or crochet, if I can find it. But I knew you guys would appreciate this more than showing my husband. Look at how cute that hat is. Oh my gosh. And so that is one of their pictures from their, let me see, I think it's just June, July, August is this magazine. But I thought, oh my gosh, if I felt more skilled at crochet, I would take a crack at that, but I am a little more of an experienced knitter. So the listitude is called Dear Summer, a Gratitude List. So it's just a whole list of really cool things to be grateful for in the summer. So one of them is thunderstorms bursting with fireworks, reading and dozing under the cool of a tree, and then I'll read one more. Oh my gosh, it just makes you want to like jump into this. I'm going to tell you one of them because since I live in the woods and there's woods behind me. The woods painted in every shade of green. And oh my gosh, I wanted to share that with you. I don't have any links or anything for this. It's just, this has been such a great magazine to get. It's like getting a present in the mail, and they have more than listicles. They have articles. It's all sent in by readers. And I just thought that was really cool, and I wanted to share that with you. I thought you guys would like the listicle. Okay, knitting time. I'm gonna get cozy. Okay, so since I found out this is a boy, like I said, I've started to kind of go a little boy crazy. Luckily, we didn't find out the gender of our 3rd baby, so we kind of had made it sort of gender neutral in her nursery. So we went with like a Woodland nursery, and then once we had her and we knew she was a girl, we added like wildflowers and kind of make it like Woodland secret gardening. So she's actually back sharing with her older sisters their bedroom. So the nursery is open. We're stripping it down to just Woodland. And so the very first thing that I knit for this baby, this unnamed baby, because I can't think of any baby boy names, is actually two things, and I've already cast on a third thing. But this is my Mountain Haze hat, and then this is little, oh, let me think. This is our second, I think this is our second baby modeling this. This is Natalie, little baby Natalie, who's now 3. So like I said, it's written for a girl, because we had all 3 girls. Well, not written for, but the colors I had chosen were for her. So I decided to kind of go with the Woodland feel and look, that I was going to knit it in a little more of a boyish, woodlandy, I don't know how you would describe it, but so I just used Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. I'll write down the exact names, but I want to say this is just gray marble, Kale, Fisherman, and then gray marble. And then I used actually I think I have it right here. I just used like the clover pom-pom 3 or 4 inch to make the pom-pom, the pom-pom maker to make the pom-pom. And yeah, this is a really simple Fair Isle hat. I made it in less than an hour. This is the 0 to 3 month size. And then, since you never know what size noggin your baby's gonna have, I also knit the 3 to 6 month size. So I'm set. If I'm due in October, I'm pretty much, hopefully it doesn't have a huge head. Then I'll need to get to, what would the next one be? 6 to 12 month, I think I might have. But I'm excited. So I did like these colors a lot. The green was also stash yarn. Well, it was all stash yarn, but it was almost out of the green. So I was like, I'm gonna do the same colors for both. I really liked these colors. I think it's probably the colors I'm gonna end up working with for his nursery, because like I said, there's a lot of green. I mostly did green and white for Lucy, our third, like I said, and then we added in some pink and purple. So I think we're just gonna kind of stick with that, and I'm really excited. And this is the first thing that I have made for him, and it just makes it not more real, because I mean, I can feel the kicks. I've seen the ultrasounds. I know it's real. I felt the nausea, but it was just exciting to make my very first things for him. So I'm excited. It does say Sparkly Twig, if you caught that. That is the name that I used to design under before I rebranded to my blog and YouTube channel of This Yellow Farmhouse. So that's why it says Sparkly Twig. It's just the old pattern design from that. So first 2 finished objects. I'm gonna count them as 2, because it's the same thing, but there's 2 of them. I'm gonna count it. And like I said, they each took, one was a little less than an hour, one was about an hour, and I just knitted this weekend. And yeah, I think that is the only finished project I have this time. But like I said, I really wanted to knit a lot of stuff. And actually, I'm gonna show you, since my planner's right here. My husband was like, you realize how much time you have, right? You're not going to knit all these things. So I went on to Ravelry, and I seriously wrote out so many patterns that I wanted to knit and cast on. And so then if you'll actually look, I had to star them and give them a little asterisk and be like, these are the actual things I'm gonna try to knit. And in a dream world, I would knit the whole entire page, but it's just not gonna happen before October or before December, because one of the things is actually stockings. So now that we think maybe our family is going to be complete, I wanted to finally knit Christmas stockings. And I actually saw Kay from Crazy Sock Lady Designs knitting one of these patterns. So the designer makes like, I think 9 patterns that are all a little bit different. So I showed everyone in my family the pictures and they all picked which one they want. So I also now have 7 stockings that I'm going to be casting on, and there's no way I'll finish 7 stockings before Christmas. 7 because we have to make one for our puppy too, because he's family. So I do have a lot of works in progress. How do you make that a plural? I think that's right. The first one is, I'll show you another one for baby. The Woodland moss blanket, and this is when I rebranded. This was like the first draft of how my patterns were going to look, but I didn't have this yarn anymore. This is a blanket I knit for Lucy when she was in my belly, and then it accidentally got washed and dried, so she never actually got to use it. I had knit it originally in the We Are Knitters petite wool. I don't remember the name. It was like forest green or something like that. So I decided I'm going to use some stash yarn again, trying to be good. And plus I just bought a bunch of sock yarn, got a bunch of bear yarn to dye, and so I'm like, I'm going to use the yarn that I have. So I ended up picking up for this little boy blanket just Line Brand Woolies Thick and Quick in charcoal. I wasn't sure how much I would need because obviously it's a different weight. I kind of adjusted the pattern. I'm going to try to remember to add a project page on Ravelry, but this is what, here, actually, you know what, it'll be a lot easier to see if I can just backtrack a few rows. Like I said, I had to kind of refigure because I'm using the same needle size, but it's a bulkier yarn. And I didn't want this gigantic blanket. And mostly I only have like a little bit under 3 skeins of this Thick and Quick, and I don't want to go buy more Thick and Quick just for this blanket. So, okay, so this is opened up. I'm really bad at seeing where I am on the camera. So it's just a really simple Irish moss stitch, and it just adds a little bit of texture, which is pretty much all I wanted. I didn't want anything too intricate, and especially since it's a dark yarn, you really can't see anything too intricate. So I'm excited about that. That's about how much of it I have, and it will measure about 25 inches by 25 inches. Hopefully, if I don't run out of yarn, it's at least 25 inches wide. We'll see how long how tall I can make it before I run out of yarn. And so that's the first project that I'm working on. Like I said, that's the Woodland moss blanket, also from this yellow Farmhouse. And I showed you that was just Stash Thick and Quick yarn. I have one more. Okay, wait, let me check my notes and make sure there was nothing else I wanted to tell you. I used a size 11 needles for that. And I told you the sizes of the hats. Yes, we're good. Okay, I gotta write these things down or I'll never remember. The last whip that I started, and I told myself don't start anything else until you finish these 3. 3, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1. Wait, no. Oh yeah, I do have 3 because I also have my socks still. My sock obsession is still going. I do have 3 whips, so I told myself don't cast on anything else until you finish them. This, I'll insert probably right here, the picture of what it's supposed to look like. It is called the Millie Tank Top by Millimia Sweden. I think I'm saying that right. And when I first learned to knit, I saw this book. I think it's called Winter Knitting by Millimia. I loved everything in it. I like Fair Isle. I don't really do Fair Isle with skinny yarn very often, but I loved everything in this book. And then I never made anything from this book. So finally, I've decided that I'm going to make a tank top. Now I don't remember, I say tank top, it's kind of like a little, I think of it as a vest, like you would wear a little long sleeve under it and it's just like a little boy baby vest. I think it was in the Winter Knitting book. I'll link it down below. It's their Ravelry page and it will say what book it's from. But so it will have the little sheep on it. So far this is all I have done because you're following a chart, and that takes concentration, and I have usually about an hour in the evenings of quiet. You can see my floats because it wants to flip up the top. I get about an hour in the evenings of quiet after the girls go to bed before Puppy wakes up from his last nap, and then he's a total spaz at bedtime. So I don't actually get to knit from like 8 o'clock to 9:30, 9 when we go to bed. This is all I have so far. But when you think of a little baby and their little porty belly, that's actually a pretty good amount. I am right about to where it's like some solid lines of brown, and then it goes into the picture of the sheep. So I'm excited about that. I actually ended up using yarn that I showed you in the last video that I thought I was going to use for socks. I'm not. This is just the Cascade 220 in fingering, and this is silver, this is walnut heather. And when I saw this pattern, I immediately thought of these two skeins that I had just gotten because it was just, I liked the rusticness, and I liked the colors, and it kind of went together. And I knew I wanted a lighter color to be the main background color, and this to be kind of the trim. So that's how far I am on that project. I am making the size 3 to 6 month because, like I said, you never know how big your baby's gonna be. I'd rather make something that's 3 to 6 months for a baby who's going to be born in October, because I don't know, I've never had boys, I don't know if he'll be big or small. My girls have all been small, but I know he'll have pretty much all winter to wear. And if he does, if I do want to put him in it for like Christmas pictures, he'll be wearing the vest over a long sleeve. So I think 3 to 6 months is gonna work. I hope it's gonna work. Okay, I use size Cascade 220. I use size 2 needles for the ribbing, and then it moves you to size 3 for all the Fair Isle detail. So that is my Millie tank top that I wanted to show you, and that goes with this. I have to keep all my stuff in a box now because it has to be something that can travel with me, because I find myself knitting in the most random places, like out on the back patio in just very random places. Okay, I have one last thing to show you. I started last episode, if you were here for episode 15, and I was just casting on my very first pair of vanilla socks in the fingering weight yarn, because I learned how to do socks backwards, and probably wrong, which was using worsted weight yarn and cabling right away, and I've never actually done just a vanilla sock. So this is the progress I have of my vanilla sock on 9-inch circular needles by Crazy Sock Lady. And I saw, as I was casting on, I saw Amanda from Mandy's Makings on Instagram show a picture of her making this pattern, but she made it a little shorter. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that, because I didn't know how much of this yarn I had left. And mostly because I'm, like I said, I'm practicing. This isn't, I love this yarn, so it's just like, I think this is Reindeer Heather of Knit Pick Stroll Fingering. I love this yarn. I would cable with this yarn. It's not so good for like a vanilla sock pattern. Probably that seems to be what people use the crazy colored yarns for. This is what I had, and I wanted to practice. So I decided I'm gonna make a short one. So what she did was she made her cuff 15 rows, and then knit 10 rows, I want to say. And then she went into the heel. About the heel, I want to talk to you about the heel, because maybe you've been doing socks wrong like I have. But I'm also going to try to insert a picture of these socks I finished last week by Hohi Locatelli. I love this heel so much better. And I don't know if this is a different heel or I just learned to do heels wrong, because this heel just basically looks like stockinette stitch. I mean, look at how clean that heel is. The one that I did from the other pattern, and I've done for every sock pattern I've ever done, you can see a little bar across every other one, and that's because, let me try to remember, and it specifically says it in this pattern, so I know this is the way I was supposed to do it for this one, and I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it for all of them, and I just wasn't. So when you're slipping a stitch, it matters if the working yarn is held in the front or the back. So I was always reading the patterns as slip purlwise, and so that's why I was ending up with the little purl bump. Well, Kay's pattern specifically tells you to slip it purlwise, but with the yarn in the back. And so that's how you get that heel. Because if you're like me, I was kind of getting self-conscious of my heels, because I think I was picking up on the fact that my heels looked different, but I had no idea what I was doing wrong. And to be honest, that's probably what's been holding me back from finishing my sock pattern. I have a couple cable knit worsted weight sock patterns that are ready and just waiting. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to change them and fix the heel, or at least how it's written, and then take the pictures, because I really do like this heel better. It feels thicker, it doesn't have that obnoxious bar, and if you're a sock knitter, you might know this already, you probably know this already, but I just had like a total, you know when you have those aha moments in knitting where you're like, it just comes together and it makes sense. I had that, and I'm a little embarrassed at how long it's taken me to realize that, but now that I know it, it's changed sock knitting for me forever. I do want to knit using some different kinds of heels, because I've only ever done a slip stitch heel wrong until now. So that is Reindeer Heather. That's my last whip that I've been carrying with me, and like I said, it is Stroll. It went all crazy. It's just this Stroll tweed in the fingering weight from Knit Picks, and I just thought that would be a good yarn for me to practice in. I love Knit Picks. They have really cool bear yarns, which is one of the things I wanted to show you next, because you guys, I have a sock obsession, a sock knitting obsession that started. I've always had a cable knitting obsession. Now I have a yarn dyeing obsession, and I had to go look in my podcast app and search in the little search bar. You can search not just topic, but you can search not just show name, podcast name. You can search topics. So I searched yarn dyeing, and so many episodes came up from podcasts I've never heard of. I've been listening to them, I've been learning, and I'm excited to dye some yarn. It really was only a matter of time, because my last name is Dyer, so I'm a knitter with the last name Dyer. It really was just a matter of time before I decided I needed to be a yarn dyer instead of just a Dayna Dyer. So I got 4 skeins of this Stroll fingering, so same stuff as the Reindeer Heather. I also have maybe 3 skeins of what is it? I have some of Wool of the Andes bear also. So this is just if you go onto Knit Picks and you can search in the search bar bear yarn, or look at your specific yarn weight you want, and then you'll find a bear yarn. This is just from Knit Picks. It's just plain undyed wool, and I'm really excited to dye with this. This one is merino wool and nylon. It's a 75/25. So I'm very excited. I'm very into the natural dyeing. So if you are on Instagram and you've seen the, she's a pattern designer, she's a knitwear designer, and she's a yarn dyer, Haley from Ozetta. she actually does natural dyeing with things from outside, from her yard, and that's totally what I want to do. I have so far done walnuts. I've dyed with walnuts. I have dyed with avocados. And I liked doing the walnuts. I think it wasn't as deep of a brown as I wanted. I'll try to show a picture of what it turned out looking like. It wasn't as deep a brown as I wanted, but I like the idea of just kind of using the land and just going and picking walnuts in the fall and doing it all then. I learned a good lesson. Do it outside, because I ended up with real gross bugs, like as soon as I took them out of the basket. Real gross bugs trying to all around my counter. Then I was quick, like, ugh. I almost lost my bananas because there were some real weird bugs in there. So outside, it would be cool to have down the road like a she shed that would be like a yarn dyeing she shed, but I'll dream. I'll keep dreaming. Okay, so I've done walnuts, avocados, and then my last attempt, I'll also show a picture of. I wanted to try, I had this vision of like, let's take the gross weeds that I don't want to weed from our garden and from just like all around our woods, and instead of looking at them as gross, annoying weeds, give them a purpose. And the ones that are flowering, I thought, what if I tried to dye yarn with those? So I ended up getting a whole bunch of Dame's Rocket is what they're called. And those are flowers that I don't know if they're all purple, but they're like different shades of purple, and then as they're out for a few days, they fade to white. So I tried to get them when they were purple. I pulled all the petals and did all that. I boiled all of them and I stuck the yarn in. It was all there I forgot, I wrote down the directions, but needless to say, it didn't dye anything. The yarn was still the color that it was before, so I didn't actually save the directions that I had done. So there are some things that will dye naturally. There are some things that won't. Now I thought, because it was like a vibrant purple to me, I thought this would hold in the yarn. It didn't end up doing it. So I took that yarn and I just was like, I have to do something with this yarn. I felt so frustrated. So I ended up just dyeing with Kool-Aid, which is not natural dyeing at all, but we had Kool-Aid. And so I did do, because the other yarn I had dyed, I only just submerged the whole yarn in the one pot. This time I had two pots going. I don't remember the names, but it ended up being purple and red, and I kind of sprawled the yarn across the two, which I had never done. I think it looks really cool. It's way brighter than anything I would normally knit with, anything I would wear. But I think I'm going to make some socks. I haven't decided if it's a little too red, maybe a little too feminine for my husband for Christmas. But if not, then I do know some people that I can gift this yarn to, because unfortunately it came out as Detroit Red Wings hockey colors, which my husband and his family are all Detroit Red Wings fans. Unfortunately, I'm sorry if you're from Michigan, but I'm from Chicago area, so I'm a Blackhawks fan and we have a big rivalry. So now I have this yarn that's Red Wings color, so I think I'm gonna have to knit some socks and gift them away, because I just can't. Like I said, they're not my colors, they're very bright, and it's just supporting the wrong team. So those were my adventures in dyeing yarn. I do have the future plan, we'll see, to kind of dye my garden. So if any of you guys have experience in dyeing yarn with vegetables, please let me know, because I haven't done that yet. The most natural things I've done so far are walnuts and avocados. But I do love the idea that everything that we grow in our garden back there, I can kind of recycle whatever parts you need. I'd have to Google like what parts of the skin and all that you use specifically. But I think it'd be cool to dye my own yarn, dye my own yarn, but use this bare yarn from Knit Picks, and from the actual veggies that we're growing, dye my own yarn. And so that's going to kind of be my experiment as we harvest what's in the garden, which isn't going to be for a while, but that's kind of what I'm going for so far. So let me think. I have just one thing left I wanted to show you. It's very small, but to me, if you have seen some of my earlier episodes, you know that I am into progress keepers now. I didn't ever used to know what they were used for. They didn't seem super practical to me, but having a knitting podcast and just for my own, like I don't need to know how much I knit each time I'm knitting, but it's kind of nice. It helps me feel like I'm progressing, especially with using less bulky weight than I ever really have in the past. It's nice to feel like there is progress happening. So I wanted to show you, this is just also from Knit Picks. See if it'll work. I'm showing you the right side. Okay, so this is just a skein of yarn that I got when I ordered the bare yarn that I just thought was really cute. And like I said, I'm not into super flashy colors or anything like that, so I thought it was kind of the perfect muted tones. And well, no, I'll test this. I have an idea. I'll test it and then I'll show you about it. But it involves stitch markers, it involves wool, and it involves felting. I have no idea if this will work or not, but we'll see. So, let's see. I think that is all that I have to share with you guys. Okay, one last thing. Regarding the Woodland moss blanket that I'm knitting, I said I'm going to try to add it on my project page on Ravelry. If I forget or this video goes up before I've had a chance to do that, I wanted to tell you that I did use size 11 needles, and instead of casting on whatever the original pattern said, I cast on 54. And the original pattern says it's 26, it's like a 26-inch square. This is going to be about 25 inches finished, unblocked. So we'll see, blacked, we'll see. But otherwise, I think that is all I have for you guys today. I'm really excited. I thought I would be able to do a podcast every other week, and I ended up being able to knit enough to feel like I have something to share with you guys. So I think that's all I have for you knitting wise. If you want to stay and hang out with me and knit, you are more than welcome to. If not, and you want to get on with your rest of your day, then of course go and do that. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I think that's all I have. So thanks, guys. I'm gonna grab a drink and do some knitting with you guys. I think I'm gonna work on, I'm not gonna be able to talk and think with the chart, so I'm not gonna work on the vest, the tank top, but I think it's kind of hot to do the blanket. I think I'm just gonna work on my socks for a little bit because I'm just at the past the heel, just onto the foot part. So I'm very excited, and I did something different with my hair today. So the other day I was calling myself Griselda because, let me get close for you. I discovered that I was trying to do a center part, not because whatever generation says center parts are better than side parts, not because of that, because I usually do a side part, but because when I was doing a center part, it was hiding this weird regrowth from past babies. But then I got to the point where I was doing a center part, and I know I have a streak of gray that's coming in pretty thick in here, but when I did the center part, it was just like gray, but it didn't look cute. I think I'm the type of person who, when I really start graying, I'm gonna just let it go gray. But but this was not cute. This is like one streak. And like I said, it turned very witchy because it was just like 2 weird streaks, but in weird places. Like not even up in the front, like a cute highlight. It was just like, it wasn't good. So I'm back to trying the center part. Hopefully I don't end up with more weird hair regrowth from babies, but that is why I'm back at the center part. And then I just did like a Dutch French braid, maybe is what it's called, where you're, instead of braiding over your hair, you're actually braiding under your hair. And the reason I do that is because my hair is so thin. It's hard to see a braid anyway, but when I just do a regular braid, it just like camouflages. The braid is so skinny. So I did the Dutch braid, and then I ended up kind of going like this and trying to widen it up a little bit. And I need a haircut. I don't know if I've gotten a haircut since March of 2020. I kind of think I haven't. I know I've trimmed it myself twice, but I actually don't think I've gone in. And this is just the knitting and chatting portion of the podcast, obviously, because this is not yarn related. We're just talking about split ends and gray hair. It's just the way life goes. Okay, so if you need to refill your drink, grab your project if you weren't working on something, or switch it up if you want to. I'm going to knit some socks with you guys, and I'm trying to think what I can share with you guys that I can share with you guys that is new. I don't know. So we found out we're having a boy. I'm trying to think. We turned that into a date. You know, you have a lot of kids when you start turning doctor's visits and ultrasounds that take 45 minutes to an hour as dates and as quiet time. I remember when I was in the hospital after I had our third, I remember thinking, this is in no way a vacation. Like, everything hurts. Everything hurts at this point. I just had a baby, and I got this little living thing in my arms screaming all the time, but it kind of felt like a getaway. And so, kind of similarly, it felt like when we went to get the ultrasound last week, I was like, this is really nice. I'm in a quiet room. It's like a little bit of small talk, a little bit of talking about what you see on the ultrasound image, but it's dark, it's quiet. I almost fell asleep. My husband did get to go with me, which I'm really excited about. I thought he was gonna have to stay at home and be with the 3 kids and the puppy, because I thought that was too much to put on my mom. I was like, it's still too new, having a new puppy and stuff. I mean, he's still having accidents in the house. Plus the 3 little kids. I just thought, I didn't want to ask her. I just felt bad. So, but then she offered. She was like, hey, don't you have an ultrasound this week? And I was like, yeah, I was just going to ask them if they would like not show me anything on the ultrasound, because they did that last time when we didn't want to find out. They just, whenever they passed over that area, they're like, okay, just don't look at the screen right now. And then I was going to ask if they'd put it in an envelope, and I would just bring it home and very unceremoniously kind of like bring my husband to another room as soon as I got home, and we'd open it together. But it was really cool that we got to see it there live, and especially since it was the first boy, like that was a big deal for him. I know he's thrilled. I'm thrilled. And so I'm glad that he could come with for that, because that was a big moment. So I asked him later, this is a hard question to answer, but like, knowing now that he knows it's a boy, does he regret finding out now, or would you rather wait until the very end and be surprised and hear it's a boy? And he said he'd rather hear now. He just needed to know. needed to know, and he's very excited. He's a really good girl dad, but he's a very, I don't know, he's very much a boy's boy. He loves sports and fishing and tractors and anything outdoors, and he's so good with the girls. He is so good. He can be just as into all their stuff, their princess pink and unicorns and all that, but I know he's gonna be thrilled about a little boy. So, or he is thrilled about a little boy. So that is pretty much all we did this weekend. That's not true. We went to our 3-year-old Natalie, this little girl who's now 3. We went to her ballet recital. She did so good. It was really cute. They were dressed like little Dalmatian dogs. They danced a funny, cute little dance to Who Let the Dogs Out, and it was very cool. And we almost made it till intermission. After her dance, she came back and sat with us. We almost made it to intermission. This was like a 4-hour-long show of all sorts of different age groups, all the way up to 18-year-olds. And we had to leave early and go get food, and because they were just struggling to make it through, and she just had the one dance, so a lot of the other people were there for multiple dances. Their kid was in lots of different groups, so we were just like, we're gonna go. We've seen what we came to see. So that was our weekend, and then otherwise, that's about all. So what kinds of things do you guys look for when you're looking for like baby boy knitting patterns, or even crochet patterns, but I guess more like beginner crochet patterns, because I don't consider myself a very expert crocheter. I had always heard that boy patterns are harder to find in knitting, or at least cute boy patterns are harder to find. Like, it's a lot easier to knit for a baby girl. But I was pleasantly surprised. So, like I said, I've kind of knit a little bit for my nephew, who's almost a year old now. But other than that, a blanket here or there, like for my cousins having babies, but I've never really followed an actual knitting pattern that has me like, I don't know. I've never really actively searched for boys knitting patterns. There were a lot of cute ones out there. Like I said, there's too many. You know what? Maybe I should read you my list. You might recognize one of them. And then of course I got sidetracked by the Millimia, and so I started writing down other patterns that aren't for kids at all. They're for me. I got lost in dreamland. But I did buy the stocking patterns. So like I said, 7 patterns. I know the designer's Instagram account is She Thinks She Can. I think. Okay, I don't know her Instagram account. I'm pretty sure it's at She Thinks She Can, and the designer's name is Ursula something. I don't remember her last name. But the stockings that I picked, I'm excited for. Okay, so I wrote down the holiday shallot. I'm probably butchering that word, and that's embarrassing. Stocking, which if you watched the Crazy Sock Ladies podcast, that's one that she was working on within the past bunch of months. That's where I had seen that one first. It's really cute. It has like a little house and some trees. I think I'm gonna knit that one for myself. My oldest picked the ginger mint stocking, which just has 2 little gingerbread men and some little peppermints. My middle child chose one that has little trains on it, the steamer train stocking. And then we picked for our 1-year-old the vintage toy stocking, which has a rocking horse, and then I think just like little teddy bears at the bottom. Baby brother doesn't really get a say. He has no idea what's happening. So we picked one that is called Fresh Pine Stocking. I'm trying to remember what that one is. Oh, it's like the old vintage truck with a tree in the back. We picked some reindeer for our dog, who also has no idea. And then my husband picked one that has just lots of trees and mountains and stuff called the Snowy Mountains stocking. And the reindeer one is called Dasher and Dancer stocking. So I'll link that below if you want to scroll through. Like I said, she has like, I want to say it was 9 patterns. And some of them she does in fingering weight, and then she converts to like a worsted weight. And I didn't try to get creative with the yarn. I just used whatever yarn she said, which was Knit Picks. Knit Picks palette. And I ended up getting Bear, which she used for the background, the white. Pimento. No. I wanted to get Pimento because that's the color she used, but they didn't have it. They're out of stock. And I'm impatient. So I was like, actually, I think I want a little bit of a deeper red. So I got, I think it was called Garnet Heather for the red. And then she originally used like an ash gray, and I decided I wanted to do kind of like a dark pine green. So I chose Aurora Heather. And these are all Knit Picks palette colors. So I'm really excited to get that in the mail. I think it should come this week. And hopefully I can get some of these projects done because, like I said, my goal was to cast those off before I started something new. But if a box of yarn shows up on my doorstep, I'm probably going to cast on the first stocking. So those were the stockings. What else? Oh, Millimia. Okay. I went kind of crazy looking through not just the winter knitting book, but all of her other books. There is the Dansa elk dress, which is a little girl's dress, which is really cute, that I want to knit, but I was thinking I probably won't get that done by this Christmas. So I was going to do 3 sizes of that. I don't remember what the sizes were, but I have a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, and 1-year-old girl. So this is my like dream list, right? So those 3 dresses. Then Millimia has something called My Socks. They just used some scrap yarn making little mini Christmas stockings. I thought would be cute to hang garland for Christmas decoration, and also for like giving gifts. So you could do like a little mini stocking with like a lotion in it or something to go along with the gift, or for people who I don't really know what I'm gonna get them. Or they give me something and I'm like, oh, oh no, here you go. And then it's handmade and it's from the heart. It's just kind of prepared in advance, I guess. But they're really cute. They had different like design pictures on them. And I think they just called that mini Christmas stockings. I wrote down 10. Like I said, dream list here. They shouldn't take long, but like I said, when you have other stuff on the list, it's going to take forever. The Millimia had a Nordic Nightscape cushion, which I think was just one design, and they knit it in a few different colors, which I really liked. They did a red and white one and a blue and white one. I think I would do something a little more neutral. Madikin Cape by Millimia. Looks so cozy and amazing for if you're like a breastfeeding mom in the cold winter months. I'll probably not finish it before then. The problem is I also don't have yarn, like enough yarn for that. And I shouldn't go buy more yarn for that, should I? I shouldn't go buy more yarn for that. And then they have, I think it's the same exact cape, but it's for younger ages. It's the Elizabeth cape. And then there were some sweaters. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's kind of, they call it a jumper. One is a Nelly jumper, and one is the Like jumper, Lykke. And that just looks like a sweater, but they call it a jumper. Nils leggings, which were really cute, like any gender leggings for little kids. And then non-Millimia, because I did look at other stuff, I got totally distracted. Oh, there is another one. I thought this was cute. My husband thought it was not super boyish, but it's called the Lass tank top. Lasse or Lassie tank top. I thought it was cute, and the model was a boy, and it was really light gray and white, and my husband was like, "Mrr." He liked the one with the sheep better, but it's still on my list. I still think it's cute. Maybe for like when he's a toddler, I can make that and he can wear it at Christmas time. And I think that one was just like the Fair Isle, like, I don't know what the motifs are called, like snowflake looking things and stripes, and just very traditional, really cute little boy's vest where they'd wear a long sleeve under it too. So, like I said, I kind of got a little distracted. I went on looking for boys' patterns. I did find the leggings and the vest. Besides the vest I cast on, and then I got distracted by all of the Millimia stuff because it's just really cute. Very cute, especially the ones from the winter knitting and some of the other books where it's more of the neutral colors. They do have some books where it's all like color block, bright red and bright blue and all that, but that's a little bit brighter than my style, so I was really excited to look through the ones that were neutral and glorious. But now I have too many things that I want to knit. Like, you know when you feel like you just want to knit all the things and you start getting like anxious, like there's never enough time to do it all. And do it all meaning like there's no deadline other than the one I'm giving myself of just wanting it done. And so now I have this massive list, but I did decide my priorities, other than the things I showed you guys today that I'm working on, are going to be the stockings, and then possibly next would be the dance elk dress in those 3 sizes, and then the cape for me. That cape would look so cute on the little girls, but like I said, I kind of wanted something that I could wear and that I could use for like a breastfeeding cover, but also a cape. So we'll see. I know those stockings are going to take a lot of time because there's 7 of them, so we'll see. I'm not sure about that. I may have overcommitted even by just getting yarn for all those stockings. We'll see. Well, I think that's all I've got for this video. I am going to try so hard to knit a lot of stuff this week and be able to hop on for an episode next week. That is my goal. I surprised myself this past week. I knit more than I thought I would, and well, hopefully I can do that again next week. Hopefully I will have maybe this pair of socks finished, at least maybe one sock finished, and maybe a little bit more of the sheep in that vest finished. I'm sure I'll probably have more things cast on. I'll probably, once I get that yarn from Knit Picks, I already want to cast on a stocking from that. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get a lot of knitting done, because I don't want to spread myself too thin and then have like 2 rows done of one thing instead of like half a project, because I was working on lots of different things. But that is all. If it's nice out where you are, get outside and enjoy that weather. If it's raining or just buggy, then no judgment, stay inside. Get the air conditioning on, eat some popsicles and ice cream, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and have a good rest of your day.